Hey y'all, it's Dave. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Sarkman Gaming. I'm starting a new series here today titled Sarkman Gaming, a weekend report, where I just report on some of the things I saw during the week, maybe a show I watched, some websites I visited. And quite simply put, I just offer my opinion of what I thought. So with that, let's see what happened this week. First thing I want to do is start with the verse of the day. Today's verse is from Psalms 19, verse 14. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. First thing I did this week, I saw a show on Netflix called Pacific Rim: The Black. I love Pacific Rim. I'm not going to lie. The second one was terrible. The second one was awful. Absolutely terrible. But the first one ignited something inside of me I hadn't felt since I was a little kid when I went and saw movies. In fact, that is one of the only movies, maybe the only movie I can think of in my life that I went and saw twice in one day. I went and saw it on IMAX, and then on the drive home, I said, man, that was really good. I want to go see it again. I was still hyped up after seeing Pacific Rim. I did see it that second time that day, and let me tell you, it wasn't as good the second time around. But all the magic, a lot of the magic was gone. But still, I still enjoyed it. So this is an anime. It is on Netflix. I think Netflix has gotten the message that they're going to need to step up their game a little bit if they want to succeed in this space with Hulu and Disney Plus and everyone and their mother creating a successful streaming service. That is, of course, unless you're streaming Star Trek Discovery, because ain't nobody got time for that. So what is this one about? Pacific Rim: The Black takes place in Australia, and it's about the kaiju taking over, and we really stand no chance, so they just they as in the government, they just cut all ties to the outside world. Satellites come crashing down, there's no more communication, and so it's essentially a blackout. And it's a resounding meh. My opinion is I am whelmed when I watched it. It's about 7 episodes long. You get about 22 minutes an episode. You get your standard hero storyline, brother and sister, brother trying to protect sister. Both of them suck at life. You could take the Jaegers out of this show, and the story would still hold up on its own. It wouldn't be as good, so it would be even less of a meh and would dive into underwhelming, but you could do that. Even though it was average, I like big robots, so anytime one was on the screen, I really had to suppress the urge to just get excited over nothing happening, really. Go check it out. It's only 7 episodes long. They're like 24 minutes each. So you see on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 70% fresh, and the audience score is 85. So we do have a rare occurrence of both sides agreeing. Trends we've seen these days seem to go with the audience loves it and the critics hate it, or the critics love it and the audience hates it, and it's just this war back and forth. But in this case, both people seem to agree. Now, here's the thing that you need to look out for. This is 74, so 74 people and 10 critics. So we don't have a large pool to go with here. But you know, it's a nice popcorn show. If you ain't got nothing to do and you feel like wasting time watching a cartoon about a movie that you enjoyed a few years ago, then by all means go for it. All right, let's see what the next one is. Oh no, Megyn Markle. Well, I suppose we wouldn't be alive if we didn't talk about Megyn Markle for 14 seconds. That's what she wants, right? For someone that doesn't want attention, she sure is in the spotlight a lot. This article is from the Daily Wire. They are a right-leaning news organization. So part of me doesn't even want to give this woman the time of day, but it's popular, so we'll talk about it a little bit here. We'll touch on it. So she went on Oprah Winfrey, a trusted name in journalistic interviews. Wink. All right, let's read some of this. She went on Oprah. Oprah interviewed her, and this is what happened. So during a recent interview, former royals Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stirred up controversy as they made many unsavory claims about their time as Duke and Duchess of Sussex before they cut ties with the royal family and moved to the US to begin lives as private citizens. Megyn made a number of claims against the royal family as well as against the institution of the monarchy more broadly. Markle claimed a member of the royal family expressed concerns over the son Archie's skin tone and how dark the baby's going to be. potentially, and what that would mean or look like. So here's the thing. Nobody cares, y'all. Nobody cares. This country hasn't cared about the royal family since 1776. You know, true talk. I don't care. That conversation, though, that's interesting that they point this out. It seems rather vague. They don't go into any more detail than that. No names are mentioned. Nothing along the lines of, hey, this person told me and I really took offense. This is the audio version of clickbait. Please look at me. I want to be popular. We hear a lot of terms fly around these days about privilege, and 3 of the most privileged people on the planet are in this picture right here. There's Oprah. You get a car and you get a car and you get a car. That sounds pretty good to me. The prince is like, we have a real prince, an actual real life prince. You don't have to go watch a Disney movie. He's an actual prince. And then she is an actual princess. Like they're real. They're real people. No Disney movies, no animation, no crown, tiara, glittering effects and all that and happy endings, but a real princess and prince and Oprah all together complaining. It's great. It's a magical time we live in. If y'all don't like it, you don't like what you're seeing here, y'all can pack up and head on back to the UK. We ain't got time for that mess. All right, let's see what else. Let's get back to some game talk, shall we? Valheim. All right, I read an article this week about Valheim. If you've been playing that, about 5 million of us have. Valheim devs still undecided on the option to teleport ore. If you're unfamiliar with what they're talking about, there are teleportation portals in the game of Valheim. Helps you instantly traverse from one area of the map to another, as the map is massive. The map is massive, y'all. The map is split up into several biomes, each that take quite a bit of time to travel to and to find your ores to get to the next age. For instance, you start off making things out of stone and wood. You advance to the Bronze Age, which is an absolute slog. Then you find iron in the swamp, you go to the Iron Age, etc., etc. Well, the thing is, depending on the world seed you get, finding any of these biomes or traveling to them, most of the time by boat, can take between 10 to 20 minutes. So enter portals. Portals, you build them in twos, you name them the same. If they have the same name, they link together, and then you can instantly traverse between them. So this means you really only got to make that journey once, and then you're there. You can do whatever you want. You've only got to suck it up one time and sail to the other end of the earth, dodging sea monsters and rain and huge waves and whatever else could destroy your boat and then leave you in the middle of the ocean with no gear. The issue is, the items that are required to advance to the next age and build the bigger and better gear require ore, like iron ore, tin, copper, etc. You cannot bring ore through a portal. So you can bring your copper axe or your iron sword, but you can't bring the ore through the portal. So, science. I don't know why that is. There's been some debate online. There are some very interesting articles out there and YouTube videos. I encourage you to look it up in your own time, of this portal versus no portal holy war going on. There's 2 camps, and the one is, it breaks the immersion. You're a Viking. You should be sailing the seas, and it's going to take a long time. That's part of the game. If you lose your stuff, you lose your stuff, whatever. It's not meant to be instant gratification. And the other side, of course, is ain't nobody got time for that. I got 30 minutes to play before I got to round up my kids and get them ready for bed or school or homework or any number of other excuses. I got an hour a day to play. I can't do that. So I'm going to do it once, and then I'm going to enjoy the convenience of what the game developers have offered me. I'm in the second camp. It's enjoyable for me at this point in my life to make that first trip, to enjoy, like, oh, there's a storm. Oh, there's a sea monster. Oh, we're being chased. Oh, the boat's gonna die. It's exciting to me to make that first journey out there, not knowing what you're gonna find. But once I'm there and I've got everything, if I lose it all, I'll just stop playing. There's a lot of other games that won't do that to me. So I'm at that point in my life. So all that to say this. The article says the game devs are still undecided on the option to teleport your ore. And what that tells me is that if they go to a meeting, they as in the game developers, and someone tells them, you're going to make more money if you just let them teleport ore, you'll get more players and more people will buy your product, you're going to be able to teleport the ore, okay? Immersion be damned. My money's on you're going to be able to teleport that ore if this game ever gets out of early access. Let's be honest, I don't think there's a high chance of that. I would love to be proven wrong. But just as a human being myself, we all fall short of the grace of God. We're prone to temptation. We all like that money. I'm not going to lie. Money helps out a lot of things in life. And if we're just being honest with ourselves, I think the development team's like 5 people, okay? And they just sold 5 million copies of a game that they really have no reason anymore to finish. So, like that, I know that might be hard to hear, but you need to be ready for the prospect of the game's going to be in its current state for a long time. Or be improved or get to a somewhat stable, or somewhat more stable, I should say, version of what it is now, and that's just where it's going to be. And we live in the real world, this stuff happens. So my money's on you're going to be able to transport that ore through the portals. We'll revisit this later and see if I'm correct, but this has been the game that I've been playing in my spare time here. The last thing I want to talk about today is, sick reveal, Dave. The Snyder Cut. Justice League Snyder Cut, y'all. I don't know if you know this, but they're releasing a Snyder Cut of the moderately average Justice League movie that came out 3 years ago, everybody. That's satire, by the way. I cannot wait for this movie to suck. I really have no hopes for it. Y'all, I am ready for this to be over with. Let's just watch it and draw a conclusion. My phone beeps every 15 minutes about something about the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder says it's going to be a completely different movie. GameSpot says it's going to have a new soundtrack in places. Other sites say we've filmed 5 whole minutes of new unique footage, and it's going to be 4 hours long. We've redone what Steppenwolf looks like, so he can lose in shiny armor instead of the dull CGI slogfest it was 3 years ago. I love DC. I do not like Marvel, but Marvel's movies walk all up and down DC movies, and it pains my heart every time I have to watch one of those great Marvel flicks and how well they seem to stay true to their characters. But this, I don't understand what's happening. There's like a cult following of like Snyderites or whatever you want to call them. I just don't get it. Is it because I'm getting older and I can see things like this? I don't see how it's going to be good. The articles that I read from 3 years ago from Games Radar, you can go look those up yourself, said that when Snyder had to bow out, and anyone would, given the situation that he experienced, that 85% of the movie was already done. The consensus seems to be 80 to 85% of the movie was already done, and Joss Whedon came in and did the best he could with what he had. So I don't see how a movie that was already 85% done and was pretty meh, to be honest, is gonna rock now. I mean, that extra footage wasn't good enough for the first go around. Why is it magically good enough now, and good enough to be promoted every 10 to 15 minutes on people's devices? Anything that's getting promoted this much is just doomed to failure. I don't see how this is going to succeed. Now, I will happily, well, let's take that back. I'm going to be upset, but I will reverse myself and post an apology if it's actually good. But here's the sticking point. I don't want to give 4 hours of my life to something I already saw because it's someone else's version of it, but I probably will. And the reason I say that is there's another movie called The Kingdom of Heaven, and the theatrical cut was okay. It was okay. The director's cut was amazing. Completely different movie. There were scenes cut from that movie that had no business being cut, other than probably they just wanted to shorten it so they can get more viewings in the theater. Oh man, this needs to stop. I cannot express to you how happy I'm gonna be when that date comes and goes. I don't even know when it's coming out. I think it's March 18th. I apologize, Mr. Snyder. I hope for the best, but I think it's gonna suck. So I'm prepared for the dislikes and the terrible comments and how everyone's a master of filmography and they know why it's gonna rock this time around as opposed to last time. But look, you're gonna need more than a black super suit. Unless the story has actually changed, the ending's different, it's just gonna be a shined up, same extended version of what we've already seen. That's this YouTuber's opinion, y'all. So that's gonna bring us to a close this week. Man, that felt all over the place, but I had to give it a shot. That's the only way we improve, is to start. I'm gonna watch this, edit it down, and we'll make some better ones in the future for y'all. Make sure you put in the comments what you'd like to see, what you thought was good, what you thought was uninteresting, maybe a different way of doing things. I'm open to criticism. I don't like it, but it has to be done. One of my bosses at my actual job says that criticism is the bumpy road to perfection. So go ahead and let me have it. Let me know what you think. What could I improve on, or what you did like? I'm Dave from Sarkman Gaming. I appreciate you sticking around to this point. And if you did, please be sure to hit the subscribe button as well as leave a like. It really does help the channel. I appreciate your time. Y'all have a good one.